Welcome to the Coop Tank. I'm your host, Steve Cooper, coming to you from SuiteRecording in beautiful Mount Laurel, New Jersey. You know, people, if you have a podcast, a video cast, an audiobook, hell, even if you need a studio built, SuiteRecording is a place for you. Joe Gangemi, not only a great guy who knows his stuff, but he's honest and he'll work with you and he'll give you his insight. So check out their website, SuiteRecording, SUITE recording.com, or email them at hello@suiterecording.com. Anyway, we have a great show today. We have some good friends of mine. I just mentioned I just met Robert, one of my guests, last week for the first time, and I've met the other two people in person. But it's always great when you meet people in person. But we have a great panel today, and the first guest is from Nationwide Mortgages, Josh Maiese. How you doing, Josh?
Hi, nice to see you.
Good to see you. And from Aurelius, we have Lisa Frattali.
Hi, Steve. Nice to see you.
And from Bovarnick and Associates, he's not an associate, he's the Bovarnick. We have Robert Bovarnick. How you doing, Robert?
I'm doing great, Steve. Great to see you.
So I'm just going to go around now and everyone tell a little bit about what you do, 45 seconds to a minute, what makes you different, maybe why, what you love what you do. But Josh, tell everyone about yourself.
All right, so I'm a residential mortgage lender. Been in the business for about 5 years now. And I have the pleasure of helping families obtain home ownership, licensed here in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, and Florida.
All right. And Robert, how about you?
So, Steve, I am a business lawyer. I'm licensed in Pennsylvania and Florida. My practice is based in Pennsylvania. Three areas that I focus on I represent small to mid-sized companies and entrepreneurs in corporate transactional matters ranging from entity selection, day-to-day contracts, mergers and acquisitions. I also do business litigation, suing on behalf of clients, defending lawsuits on behalf of clients. I also do debtor-creditor work, which would be on the debtor side, representing companies in financial distress, doing loan workouts, Chapter 11s when it's appropriate, and also the creditor side when folks are getting sued by trustees or they want to purchase assets out of bankruptcy. So those are the three areas that I focus on.
All right. And how about you, Lisa?
Well, I'm a neuroscience coach and consultant, and I'm also an angel investor in a neuromodulation company, and the company's called Innerstill.
All right. I want to start off with something that we see it on LinkedIn, and it's a big part of the Hollywood strike. It's AI. Now, AI. I'm someone who comes from a writing background, comedy, stuff like that. I hate the idea of writing. I don't think AI, as a creative, I think AI sucks. Okay. Now it's different because some people have to use it, and I understand that. I don't like it, but what are your thoughts on AI, and do you use it? And if you do, why? And we'll start with you, Josh. What do you think about AI?
I think it's going to destroy creativity because basically, what do you have to create now? You have some thoughts, you put it in a chat bubble, and it's gone. Or basically, it's created for you. So I'm blessed that I finally got out of college before that came around because I shit you not, I would be dumb as a brick if I had that when I was in school. Because that's all this next generation is going to do is just type in all their answers into some computer, spits it out, and they're going to have their whole test or paper filled out for them. I'm with you, Steve, on that. I'm not for AI.
How about you, Robert? Because you're a lawyer and you're busy. I know you probably have paralegals and stuff like that, but for a lawyer, I can see it might be helpful, but I don't think it gives the person their own point of view.
So I am not a fan of AI on a number of levels. First, having nothing to do with the practice, I think AI, I think Skynet, right? The Terminator movies, and how they will end up taking over us. So that's sort of my basic premise. In terms of the practice, there was a recent case out of the Southern District of New York where two lawyers were sanctioned for doing a brief utilizing ChatGPT. The biggest problem with that, so they did their research on ChatGPT. The cases that the AI spit out don't exist. And they didn't go back and do the due diligence to find that out. They ended up getting in a lot of trouble. So AI is certainly not where it needs to be. About the only thing that is good about it is, as a contract lawyer, I may say, and I've not done this, but I may say, let me see what a contract for some type of whatever is, and that would be a starting point. And that's one of the things that right now people use Google. And what I say to folks business owners, they can use Google to form a contract. I will do that. The difference is they use that as their ending point. I use that as the starting point. Same thing with AI. I would probably pull up a contract just to get the basics, but then I'd go back and actually do the heavy lifting myself.
Okay. And how about you, Lisa?
I don't think any computer or somebody who's programming a computer will ever be able to replicate the emotions of humans. So they can try, but there's a lot of emotions that they will never be able to, in my opinion. I mean, I even our autocorrect must be AI, right? On my iPhone, I'm always correcting it.
You know what pisses me off about autocorrect, and I guess that I'll show my age. But when I grew up, if I was going to write about this group, I would say Steve Cooper is talking to Josh, comma, Robert, and Lisa. Well, now they're sticking a comma before the and that never happened, and it throws me off because I'm like, I don't want to put the comma before the and.
Yeah, I could see it.
No, that happens all the time, and I will say that I've given up on it, and I just go with the comma now. But I totally agree with you. Growing up in elementary school, junior high, high school, we never had the comma after the and.
Right. So anyway, so I met all you through networking, and we're all on LinkedIn. And these days you have to put something on LinkedIn. You have to do social media. And I always say there's certain things that bother me. Like I always have something like this week. I'm tired of people writing award winning. Okay, because you don't know what award it is. You know, you could have won a potato sack race when you're in 5th grade, and you can say you're award winning. And now what word or sentence bothers you when you're on LinkedIn that you just said? Like last week we talked about it. Rock star bothers me too. But what pisses you off? Like you're like, this is BS. Robert, we're going to start with you.
Two things come to mind. The first is power, referral, partner, that type of thing. The other thing is an expression of just, it is what it is. Those types of expressions that have become trite. I don't like them in everyday language. I certainly don't like them when I see them on LinkedIn.
How about you, Josh? Because you gave a... So I think
I'm with, because you took the words out of my mouth, man. I hate it because I'm in the business of obviously real estate where everybody's kissing each other's ass. And it's just so fake, and you see right through it, man. You know who's talking to who and who's working with who. And all you see on Facebook, or it could be Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever the case may be, is everybody just kissing each other's ass. I hate it. I hate it, Steve. I'm cool when it's genuine and they mean it and everything, but when they're just saying clap it up for congratulations for a participation award, it's like, come on, we all wake up and we all got the same 24 hours. So I don't know.
How about you, Lisa? I know Lisa will have an opinion on this.
I do. I have opinions about a lot of people. Just the way people speak drives me crazy. Because I was really good in English when I was in school. I went to Catholic school and used to diagram the sentences. And I don't think anybody speaks true English anymore. And a lot of it is just bullshit. It's just contrived marketing speak. I don't know. That's a lot of it. I could criticize a lot of it. I choose not to anymore, only because it just seems like it's a losing battle. So, I agree with Josh too. A lot of that, you can tell where the alliances are, and people are very fake. And so I tend to gravitate to people that, are not.
That is important. And, so we all have our jobs and we do it, and we do what we do because we like it. But what do you love about what you do? We can sit there and we can say, any job has its downfalls. I mean, it's like anything, you may hate going to this, but there's something that you love and why you stay with it. And, sometimes people just say, hey, because I make a lot of damn money and I don't want to start anything else. But Lisa, what do you love about what you do? Because you're an angel investor and you're doing your gig. And then you also have the TV show on RBN. But what do you love? What makes you get up and go, this is what I love and this is what I want to do today?
What do I love? I love it when I connect with people and we're in a conversation that I lose track of time, and that's a flow state for me. And they feel better when they walk away. from me. I don't always, people don't tell me that often, but people tell me a ton of stuff. I said, if I had a nickel for every time somebody said to me, you know, I've never told anybody this, and they divulged some, you know, something about themselves. I guess a feeling of that, something that I've learned in the past that I might have said to them about what I've done or what I've learned, helped them see that there's a genuineness about my desire to help people be free from all the limitations they put on themselves. And I also like, I'm still trading. So I like trading also. Josh knows this. Yeah. Because I was successful at it. So, you know, yes.
How about you, Robert? Because you've been practicing law for a long time.
Yeah, so I would say there are two things. One is I like meeting people, getting to know them, not necessarily to try to get them to be a client, but I just like getting to know them, getting to understand their stories. I like to learn from them. Then with respect to the actual practice, I love being creative. I think it was Edward Bennett Williams that once said the difference between a good lawyer and a great lawyer is the ability to be creative, and coming up with a challenge and coming up with a creative solution. That really gets me going every day.
Mm.
Yeah, and how about you, Josh? Because, you know, you're younger. You're a young guy, and so you've only been in the business for 5 years, and it's something you're newer in your career. But what do you love about it? What, you know, do you sit there? Do you go, man, do you love helping people, or what is it that you love?
Yeah, I mean, that's the clear-cut answer, but I'll take a little pivot from that. I like doing what other people can't get done. Like, I like going against the herd. Everybody's saying don't get into real estate. It's terrible, all negativity. But I like being the bright spot in everybody's life where it's like, all right, they can come to me for advice. They can come, I don't know, whatever the case may be. But I like doing the unthinkable. Like, if 3 other lenders couldn't get it done and we got to close, that's a pat on my back. You know what I mean? Just because what Rob brought up about being creative, that's everything in our industries, because everybody could just plug away and do what you're supposed to do by the book. But those people that think in the gray area and problem solve rather than point fingers, I love those types of people. And that's what I aspire to be. So I love doing that every day, is just problem solving.
It's funny. We all talk about people, and that's why we network. You know, we network to meet people. And I of course, we all want business, but I also do it to forge relationships. And I got a text last night from a guy named TJ Smake. And I don't know if you know TJ, but
Yeah.
TJ is a great guy. He used to come to Coffee with Cooper. And when I had Coffee with Cooper, I had my friend who's Jason Aldean's drummer, Rich Redmond, who's a motivational speaker, speak twice. And TJ, who at the time was battling cancer, was a big fan of Rich. He knew Rich. Like, I didn't know Rich when I met him. I didn't know who Jason Aldean was when I met him. And last night he actually was at a show in Maryland, and he actually met Rich. And to me, that's what networking is all about. I got that text and I was like so happy. I was like, it's so great. And now some people don't network to be popular. You know, people always want to put the photo up. You know, they want to sit there and look, you know, like, I guess they weren't popular in high school, which there's nothing wrong with that, but they just sit there. What's your advice for those people that are transparent when they network, and everyone can tell it? Like, I know someone who's always is transparent, and people sit there and go, oh my God, I don't know if I'm using the right word. They're like, oh my God, what's with such and such? They're so full of shit. Like, do they ever work? What is your opinion on that, Robert? What would you tell people, like, with the social media and networking? Because I know, like, you know Lauren Armente and Christy Berge. That's why I met you, for ages. You guys have never done business, but you've built a relationship. What would you tell people who are networking for the wrong reason? Would you tell them to get their head out of the ass, or what would you tell them?
In a slightly more polite way, yes. But it's all about the process, and it's really, don't necessarily think about what am I going to get out of this. I think the people who are the most successful in networking are those that are doing it not necessarily with the expectation of this. I'm sitting down for coffee with you, Steve, and what business am I going to get from you? No, that's not it. I'll give you a good example. The first time you and I spoke, we spent a lot of time talking about your role as a comedian, and I remember this, we were talking about people like Dom Irera, you know, comedians, and that was so memorable. I said, I really want to get to know this guy. And that's what it's all about, really understanding the person and not being just so shallow that it's a 5-minute conversation. What is it that this guy can give to me?
Okay, how about you, Lisa? Because we've sat down, we've talked for hours before. Had coffee, we talked for hours. What is it for you?
For networking, I've always thought of myself as an introvert. So networking years ago, when I really wasn't liking what I was doing, was a really chore. I look at it. It's like being in the minefield at times when you just think, oh, I don't really want to go to this, but I promised somebody I would do this to meet somebody else. And I think of that too, what Rob said of it's always, I studied with Bob Proctor many years ago, and he said, you give your way to the top. You give your way. I give a lot of stuff away, time, products, just because I think it will help somebody. If they ask for something, if I have it, then I offer it to them. It's time often is the hardest thing to give away because it's something that we'll never get back. So I try to choose my networking pretty carefully because I value my time, so I don't know. Did I answer your question? There are lots of times
What would you tell people though who are just phonies? Like, what would you tell them? What would you say? We see right through you. I mean, what would you tell someone?
It's that oversaturation feeling. It's just like, oh, there they are again. After a while, they become almost invisible to people. They are to me. It's like seeing a commercial over and over again. You're like, oh, I don't even know what they're selling anymore. And it's a turnoff. It's a total turnoff to me. Right. And that's what I would say.
Right. And how about you, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, do you want my farmer analogy or my basketball analogy?
Well, give both because that's a matter of, I mean, because people speak in different tongues. I mean, I can say something creatively to someone that I know they're not going to get, and I can say something. I mean, if Robert talked to me in law terms, I would have no idea what he was talking about. I'd be like, okay, but sometimes, I mean, we do that. We fake it sometimes. If someone, but I've always taught, my mom always said, ask. So like if Robert was saying something about a case and used some huge word, I would say, hey, I don't know what that means because I don't care. If someone thinks I'm stupid, I don't care because I'm not. But give both, you're both, your farmer and your basketball, which, by the way, I've never heard someone say farmer and basketball in the same sentence. I think of, unless it's Larry Bird. So give me your
No, I don't know. I guess I'll start with the farmer. So I like to, plant the seeds everywhere I can and kind of watch them grow. Being new to the industry, obviously, I plan on doing this, or at least in the business world, for the next 20 to 25 years. So I need to plant seeds with people that are going to grow with me, and we want to be flowers together, So that's kind of my objective, is just plant seeds no matter where it is. I don't care what the outcome is, kind of like what you guys were touching base on. But in the future, I know I'm going to need these people, whether it's for personal or somebody else is going to need it. Now, if I go over to basketball, I'm playing point guard. Now, Steve, I might not need you to get a mortgage, but you might need me to go introduce you to somebody else. I love playing point guard and putting the puzzle piece together for somebody. Or Lisa needs to meet a famous stock trader, and I know him off the back of my hand. Like, I would love to make that intro if I could. I would do that rather than a referral all day. Just because it just feels so mundane now with referrals because we do it all day long. But when you're able to help another power partner link up with another power partner, and it's because of your connection, that feels great. And to answer your question about the phoniness, time tells. If you're going to be phony for so long, you can't keep that act up. So as long as time keeps going by, you're eventually going to get exposed. So I say that every empire falls, even the Roman one did. So
So when we talk about ourselves, which people, you don't like to talk about yourself. I mean, there are people who love to talk about themselves. We see it. They don't shut up when you go on the network. They go, oh, no, and you're like, Jesus Christ, just give me a break. What is a characteristic that when you talk to someone, you think you give that characteristic, and people will say about you, like people say to me, oh, Steve's a funny guy, because I did stand up, but when I have to get to know people till funny because I don't waste my time on any schlub because it's not worth it to me. But what is a characteristic that you would want people to say about you? Like Robert, what would you want people to say if someone's talking about you? If someone says, "Hey, Steve, do you know Robert Bovarnick? He's what's a characteristic you'd like to hear?"
So one of the things that I really like to hear as a lawyer, because we all know about the reputation that lawyers have, is that he's a really good guy. I mean, a story that I often tell people is I had a case in Wichita, Kansas years ago. The parties hated each other. I got along great with the other lawyer. And he tells me that he went to the Wichita bar luncheon one day and, what are you guys doing? And he says, this is the case I'm involved in. I'm involved in this case, the Philadelphia lawyer. I got to tell you, he's a really good guy. To me, that's a great compliment because I'm fighting hard for my client, but it's not personal. We're staying professional and we're not putting a bunch of nonsense in the way.
How about you, Josh?
When people call me valuable or resourceful, that feels good because I love the fact that I can be young and everybody hits me with, I've been in this business for 20 years, whatever the case may be. But the fact that I could talk the talk with them and I've only done it for a fourth of the time, that's all it's about.
And Lisa?
Honest. Honest. Straight, like what you see is what you get. I guess it's not very transparent, but I guess I'm very honest with people. And I'm the eternal optimist also.
All right. Well, they're all good qualities. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So let's talk, you, Josh, you said, you're new in the business and the older people come up to you and say, oh, because we always run into that. We always run into someone who
happened to me yesterday.
Tell me what happened.
I was on the phone with a real estate agent. We were going and we were putting in an offer for somebody. And I don't know. He doesn't know my age, obviously, over the phone. He sees my name on a piece of paper. But he hits me with, I've been in the business for 20 years and this, that, and the third. And I'm just like, excuse me, sir, but it's not right. He was actually one of the good ones. He listened to me, kind of hear me out. He said, oh, you're actually right. So, but normally that's not the case.
Okay, well, that's what. How do you handle that? Like, okay, you're at a networking event, and we get these people who sit there and they know everything, or they've been in the business forever, which sometimes is a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. Because I always learn that where I love to mentor people, especially with podcasting, but what I let younger people mentor me somewhat because they know more about things I don't know about. I border on curmudgeon. So Josh, what is something that what bothers you when someone sits there and tries to give you advice? And on the same side, are you open to advice?
Right. So I think every good leader needs to be a sponge. Listen, we're humans. We're not AIs. We have to learn every single day. And whether it's 1% better today, and if it's 2% better tomorrow, it doesn't have to be all at once. But anyway, even 20 years into your career, you should have the same mentality. And if you don't, shame on you. I don't know how you got there if you don't have that mentality, because I think it's an ego thing that gets in the way. If you're not willing to listen to somebody with a different approach, or it's like math, like there's multiple ways to get to the answer 4, 3 + 1, 2 + 2. But are you willing to listen to that other one that wasn't yours? Like if I had 2 + 2 and Steve, you had 3 + 1, am I willing to listen to your way of doing math? I don't know. That's a you thing at that point, So I think it's just ego that gets in the way. And I am very open to advice. I love asking questions. I love learning more efficient ways to doing things because I think as humans and as time develops, we should be working smarter, not harder. And I think that's kind of the approach that a lot of people need to take. But yet again, that's my opinion.
7 - 3. Anyway.
Yeah, there you go.
Lisa, how about you?
Well, the question was what? I'm sorry. Say it again, Steve. I'm sorry.
Are you open, to learn and,
yes.
And sit there?
Most definitely. Yes. I think of when I've had a lot of people throughout my life criticize me. And then I look at it as feedback now more than ever. And I think as people get older, I would agree with Josh. You see people like I was at some big networking thing and there were lots of people pontificating like, oh dear Lord. It's the same old crap. Like you have to keep evolving and creating. That's just a human thing. We're always, otherwise, if you're not continually creating, you're disintegrating. Because we're energy, right? I mean, then it's true. And your thoughts are the most powerful thing. So I hear this from a lot of people. They don't like feedback, or they consider it criticism.
How about you, Robert? Because you've been in the business for a while, and but do you still feel like you still learn? I mean, is it something that you're learning at this point because you've been doing it for a long time and you're very successful?
The day I stop learning from people is the day I quit. And you can learn from so many different people. Now, though, Josh is a couple of years younger than me, but my guess is if we sat down, there's a lot I could learn from him. Lisa, the same way. You, maybe not. I'm just kidding. And you as well. And that's the important thing, that none of us should think that we have all the answers, and we should be open to learning from all different types of people.
Okay, that's why you've been successful for so long, Rob. You think like that. I respect that.
No. We learn from all people. What kind of people do you try to avoid? Okay, there's people that, like for me, I try to avoid the card pusher. I was in an event and this guy was just pushing his card and he wouldn't shut up. And I'm like, dude, and he was drunk. There's nothing worse than going to an event and having a drunk card pusher, because and then they forget they talk to you and then they come back and I'm like, Jesus, and he was a nice enough guy. I'm sure if he was, not a card pusher, be okay. But I try to avoid that. I also try to avoid phonies, okay? Because I met a person at a networking event, and right off the bat, this is when I first started, right off the bat, I knew this person was full of shit. Just a phony. Okay, flash forward 2 years down the road, I'm at the Pyramid Club at an event with my good friend who is a mayor of a small town. And this guy starts talking to us and he just drops an anti-Semitic comment. And it came out like too easy. It's like me when I'm driving, when the F-bomb comes out. It just comes out too easy. My wife's like, don't give anyone the finger, you might get shot. But it just happened. And so he was a phony. Now, this person's popular, but people don't know he's full of shit. And once I didn't say anything because I'm not going to cancel a person, because like Josh, we said earlier, if people will find out, they'll find out. But what do you hate? Like, who do you hate? And I'm going to use the word hate because I don't care. I know people say it's a hot, strong word, but there's all people or dislike if you're, but what are the people that you dislike and try to avoid at networking events? Because we have to come across as professional, courteous. You don't want to be like, oh, like Robert, they said you're a good guy. We don't think they'll say, hey, I got that Bovarnick, he's a dick. We don't want to hear that. What is something that you try to avoid? And we're going to start with you, Lisa, because I know networking is also different for a woman than a man, because there's a lot of creepy guys out there. So tell me what you try to avoid and the people you don't like to interact with at networking events.
The people who monopolize your time come over and the hangers on kind of, they're doing it. You feel that they're doing it because they don't really want to be there, and you have and I've had that a lot. It just kind of, they're there, and it's really not an interactive conversation. It's just help me kind of thing. Free coaching. I don't know how else to say it. And they're uncomfortable in their own skin. Let's put it that way.
How about you, Robert?
I would say two things, sort of two sides of the same coin: hard sell and people who are all about themselves. You don't want to sit there and have a conversation where somebody's only talking about themselves. That is a total waste of time. I'm not interested. I like it, as Lisa's talking about, the interactive conversation. Somebody wants to know about me, whether it's about me professionally, about me personally, that actually show that they care. If it's all about them, I've got no time for them.
Josh.
I mean, I got to agree with both of those. But now, Steve, when you go to a networking event and you hear there's more than 5 lenders in a room, what do you do? Probably, oh, these bastards.
Well, no, I went to an event one time and I sat at a table with all bankers, and I'm like, geez, I'm like, and not that I'm not saying bankers.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
No, the bankers can be boring, and
Yeah.
honestly, and then and you meet a banker and they're always at a different bank. Like these people change jobs.
Yeah, I know.
I know,
Oh my
I know
God.
people who have been like with 6 different banks since I met them 6 years ago. But with lenders, I would sit there. I don't always understand what a lender is. So I would sit there and whoever comes up to me, because I sit there and I'll sit by myself. I want people to talk to me because I'm a attention whore. I need that. But I would whoever comes up to me, I would ask them. Because I'm not familiar with lenders. The mortgage, it's a gray subject to me. But for you though, but what do you don't like?
But that's, I don't know. It's just because it has a bad persona. Like in real estate, for example, it's just another, or I feel like another number. I don't feel valued. I don't feel like I'm Josh. I feel like I'm just categorized. And I hate that. I hate when I get categorized by one label because I'm many different things. And if you put me as one thing, then shame on you, you know? But the types of people I try to avoid are those that like to gossip rather than problem solve, point fingers rather than problem solve. You're not for me. And you, like you said, you could see the phoniness and the bullshit right through people. So if that person's coming towards me, I try to turn my back because, yeah, I love to hear about other people's lives. But as Rob mentioned, if that's the only thing I'm hearing about, clearly you're not doing your job correctly or your business or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to hear anymore. So that's kind of where I just put a hard stop on it.
Okay. But no, we this group, we have different ages. Okay. And so different things, things mean differently to us, as we evolve. And I woke up this morning and I had a few cocktails last night. My head was a little fuzzy, and I sat there. But I woke up, and my wife, always puts my heart meds next to my bed, and I sat there and I said, you know what? I'm pretty successful. When I was younger, success to me would have been being a big star. Now I'm like, you know what? I'm liked. I have a beautiful wife. I'm a homeowner. I have a new car. I consider myself successful. Now there's things I want to, of course, do more. I want to write a book. I want to, get on the speaking circuit, but I consider myself successful. What ways do you consider yourself successful? And what is success to you, actually? Robert, we're going to start with you because you've been around and you are a successful lawyer, but what internally, not just saying, oh, that's Robert Bovarnick, he's a successful lawyer. What is success to you?
Success to me is having a happy family, having great kids, having a great wife. To me, that's what it's all. That's why we're doing this. We're doing this for what it's able to give to us. And for me, it's seeing the success of my kids and how they're going through their life with their paths and that they're happy. As long as they're happy and they're successful, then I've done a good job.
Okay. How about you, Josh? Because you're a younger guy. I know you just recently got engaged and you bought a home. Mm-hmm. So you have certain points. You're doing well. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, how old are you?
Turned 26 in 2 weeks.
Oh, geez. Okay. Well, God, you could be like my grandkid for Christ's sake. No, that'd be too young. But what is the 20? God, that pisses me off. He's got a beautiful girlfriend. He's got a house.
Love you too, Steve.
When I was 26, I was on the road doing comedy, sleeping with whoever I could. In all honesty. But so at 26, what is success to you at 26? And do you look and what do you think success will be to you 25 years from now? Because you're young.
It's a great question. Honestly, Steve, going back to, I guess, the personal route. So my dad was a blue collar worker, still works at his factory, still works at my mom's a stay-at-home mom. So that's where I got all the fire under my ass. So I want to be able to go out to eat, not look at a price tag. I want to buy a car, not look at the price tag. I know that sounds stupid, and I do a lot of self-reflection too, because I hear that a lot. They're like, oh, you're young, you got your stuff together, blah, blah, blah. But somebody else, there's 21-year-olds that have 10 times more than what I got. It's just relatively speaking to everybody. But success to me, man, would definitely be someone to come home to, share all your valuables with, being able to wake up every day and be healthy. I have a disability, and the fact that I could wake up and kind of feel like everybody else every day and not let it bug me, that's success in itself. Now, when money and fame or popularity, I guess let's use, because we're not famous, we're just popular, I guess. Because I'm like you, Steve. When I was younger, success, I had to be a famous soccer player. I had to be making millions of dollars a month. But that's just not it. You know, if I could wake up every day kind of with a smile on my face, and I have 4 animals at home, I could take care of them. I got my beautiful fiance. I'm able to get to work to and from. I can get to my parents. God forbid they call me. That's successful to me. The fact that I can be useful to everybody in my life. So I'd agree with you. I'd definitely say I'm successful as well.
Well,
And
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I forgot your other question. In 25 years, what success is going to look like is what I leave behind. You know, I want to be able to have beautiful children and be able to give them whatever I didn't have, or the fact that they want to go on vacation. It's like, all right, let's go. Where do you want to go? You know, it's not, let's just pick and choose just based off of a budget, or always hear about bills all the time. Because I want my kids, like, even if I'm rich and successful one day, I'm not going to give them all the money. I want them to figure it out themselves, because that's where you get that grit and grind character mentality. If I hand everything to them, they have no reason to be, you know? So success in 25 years to me is definitely having my kids have a similar mindset to what I have now.
Because if me 25 years success would be still being alive. that's just me.
Love you, Steve. It better be.
No, it's funny though. You said about sharing valuables. That's always good, but I'll give you one word, 2 words, 3 words: separate bank accounts. So you can share all the valuables. My first marriage, I didn't have a separate bank. I have separate bank accounts now, and it's perfect. I have no complaints. I'm like, you know what? I pay for a lot of stuff, but I know this is mine, and I know my wife knows my password to my ATM. So I said, when I die, if I die suddenly, just go in and take like 5,000 out this week or 5,000 out that week. Just don't make it look any obvious. But how about you, Lisa? Success for you.
I would say what both of them have said, but mostly that my kids are happy and healthy. My granddaughter, my daughters, of course, Jerry and I. And I love it that they both live here, so we're close to them. And because I'm from upstate New York, so you know, it was always have to 6-hour drive to get to my mom and my dad. Just spending time with my kids, and that is like I love it when they're here for dinner, and that's success to me. And that they're happy and healthy, and that they're doing something in their life that they love doing, and they have someone in their life that they love. What else?
Okay. I want to ask this question. I've asked it a few times, and it's just because it always intrigues me. And I'm someone who, we don't want to admit it, but we are in a divided country right now. And I don't get into it all. I don't, because it's just, I think it's all a bunch of bullshit. My feeling is, I think, politicians, they should be able to tweet about politics. That's it. No opinion. That's what your job is. You're a politician. Now, on social media, LinkedIn especially, Facebook is a different animal. But LinkedIn, I see people post about politics. I see people post about religion. If you want to do that, that's fine. It irritates the shit out of me. I don't think LinkedIn is a place for that. But what is your stance on politics and religion on LinkedIn? Because we're all on LinkedIn. It's a business tool. We get connections. It's my opinion. I think it's bullshit. I think don't post it. I don't care if you love God. I want to know if you can close a mortgage. I don't. That's just me. But what is your think about that, Lisa? Religion and politics on LinkedIn. What do you think?
Two subjects that should stay out of business. I agree completely, because they're hotbeds for controversy, and nothing ever gets done, and nothing ever gets solved. As business people, we're problem solvers, and you're just going to stay with your opinion, and I'm going to stay with my opinion, and we're not going to come together on anything. So, I totally agree with you. It's not.
How about you, Josh?
I pulled something up. This is what's wrong with the country. The fact that Barbie and Taylor Swift are balancing the U.S. economy right now. Come on. You in the entertainment business, Steve, you can attest to this. They're balancing the economy? What, because of box offices and all the merch and everything? What's going on there?
Well, no, I understand that. Barbie, one thing real quick with Barbie, and the thing about social media, how people just want to drag people down. My wife went to see Barbie with her friends, and they wore their little outfits, and took his, and it was great. And her nephew went, and he did it with his friends dressed like Ken. And then I saw someone say, I love it, but of course there's always people that shit all over everything.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's stupid, But that's social media. But what's your take on religion and politics on LinkedIn, Josh? Because you're a young guy. I don't know what your religious beliefs are. If you're religious, that's great. I'm not. I'm not an athist. I'm just afraid to die.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I don't think about it. But what is your opinion? Do you think it's a place? Is LinkedIn a place for that?
I think two separate things. That's because religion, that's just your beliefs on whether or not with afterlife or not. I mean, everybody's entitled to that. I mean, if I'm getting hit by a car, or God forbid, and I don't, and I'm just like, I just said, God forbid, or I say, thank God. You're allowed to have those type of comments, because if you sneezed right now, I'd say, bless you. Why can't I say that on LinkedIn? That's fine. You're being kind. As long as you're not being a piece of shit. Honestly, that's what I'm cool with on LinkedIn. You want to share your beliefs, you want to share if you're right wing or left wing, whatever, fine. Just don't be a piece of shit about it. Share your views. Don't bash the other person for having a different opinion. You're allowed to. You're entitled to, with the freedom of speech. It's another platform where you can speak your mind. Now, do I think people are going crazy extremists one way or another? Yes, it's all propaganda at the end of the day. But yeah, I think you should be able to state your opinion, but it shouldn't be overdone. Maybe say one post, I don't know, every month or something like that, but it shouldn't be overstated.
Right.
I know that's a different standpoint.
No, that's good. I mean, that's once again, that's the learning process. I understand that. And but you're saying you don't think it's to be saturated. And that's once again why we should have the conversations with people, because we can learn. But how about you, Robert? What's your take on it? Because you're a little bit older, and there used to be, my dad would always say, don't talk religious or politics at the table, things like that. But what is it like? What was your opinion?
So to follow up on what Josh is saying, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it. I agree with Lisa. To me, it's a hard no. I don't think that LinkedIn is a place for subjects like politics, like religion. And I've got issues, and they're on Facebook all the time. I used to get involved in political discussions with my friends of all different political stripes. That tended to devolve, so I don't even do that now, but certainly it does not have a place. It's not productive to have it on LinkedIn, in my view.
Okay. I got one final question, and I always end the show with this. You meet someone, for Josh, someone who's a few years younger than you, because you're younger, and you meet someone who's just getting out of, whether it be trade school or high school, that they don't want to go to college or whatever, or even grad school. And then you meet someone and they're just getting into the business world. They're very bright-eyed. They've never been smacked down. They haven't gone into that, which we all go. They've never been rejected, anything like that. But what advice would you give them? What would you, if someone came up to you and said, what advice do you have for me as I go out and try to get my shit going and get the thing started? Robert, what advice would you give to someone?
So I would say two things. The first is enjoy the process, because it's the journey that is equally as important as where you end up. And if you're missing that, then you're missing a lot of why we're doing this. The second thing is something that I've referred to as trust your swing. A number of years ago, Philadelphia Business Journal interviewed me for their CEO issue. And one of the things I said is trust your swing, believe in yourself. That's the other thing. So enjoy the process and believe in yourself.
All right. How about you, Lisa?
I would say do your best at whatever you're doing. Learn as much as you can. Ask lots of questions. Come early and stay late.
How about you, Josh? Because you're newer. You're someone who would just question, probably you just started 5 years into it.
Yeah, I was going to say, try new things. That's something that I guess I failed to do when I was younger, because I've been in the same business now for the last 5 years. No, don't get me wrong. I love what I do. But use your 20s as an experience to try different things. When you're locked, and I chose to do this early. Like, I got a fiance, mortgage now, take care of the whole nine. But before you have all that over your belt, if you don't like something, don't be afraid to quit and go out and do something else. Just try it. And then the number one thing I would say is definitely find a mentor. When you do find that one thing you want, find something to cling on to and answer all your questions and get light years ahead of them.
All right. You know, this was great today, guys. It's always good to talk to people. I love talking to people, and you're people I like. You wouldn't be on the show if I didn't like you. So that's what you guys know now. Whenever you see the show, it's people I like. But how can people get in touch with you? Robert, how can people find you? How can people find Robert Bovarnick?
So you can find me. My website is R and then my last name, www.rbovarnick.com. My email is my initials rmb@rbovarnick.com, and you can find me on LinkedIn, all the different types of social media, but probably LinkedIn. I just type in Rob Bovarnick, and I think I'm the only one that comes up.
And how about you, Josh?
Same thing. You can follow me in any platforms. Josh Maiese. Well, my email is jmaiese@nationone.com, and my phone number is 856-739-3654. If you ever need anything, just reach out.
Spell your name, because people were probably going to look Jmaze. Spell your name real quick.
Maiese.
All right. And how about you, Lisa?
You could find me on LinkedIn, and my website is lisafrattali.com, and my email is lisa@lisafrattali.com.
Okay, and people, you can get in touch with me. Email me at thecooptank@yahoo.com. August 19th, Saturday, August 19th, I have a show over there at the Pizzeria Uno in Maple Shade. Go check it out. It will sell out because I always draw a good crowd. Also, if you're not doing anything, August 10th, Thursday at Splits in Mount Laurel, it's Cocktails with Cooper. It's 4 o'clock. Show up. It's a happy hour. Robert was there last time. I met him for the first time. Great happy hour, like $5 appetizers, $2.50 drafts. You can't beat that. And don't forget, get in touch with Joe Gangemi at SuiteRecording, because if you want to do a podcast, we can do something for you. I can help you flush out your idea. You can come to the studio and work with Joe, and I can critique you. And then you can keep coming back and work with Joe, because me and Joe work together, because SuiteRecording is a place to be. Joe does a great job producing this show. That's why I'm here, because of him. So people, go check them out at SuiteRecording, SUITE recording.com, or email them at hello@suiterecording.com. I'm Steve Cooper. You guys have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you next week.